Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into a topic that's reshaping how enterprises operate: AI agents and multi-agent orchestration heading into 2026. Sam, when you hear multi-agent orchestration, what comes to mind?
Thanks, Alex. Honestly, most people still think of AI as these isolated tools, a chatbot here, a recommendation engine there. But what we're seeing now is fundamentally different. We're moving towards systems where multiple specialized AI agents work together, almost like a coordinated team. It's a massive shift from the experimentation era we've been in.
That's a great framing. So we're not just adding more AI tools to the mix, we're actually orchestrating them to work together intentionally. What's driving this change right now?
Three big forces converge here. First, reasoning models like OpenAI's O1 are emerging. These actually spend computational effort thinking through complex problems, rather than just generating quick responses. Second, companies are finally recognizing that reliability and governance aren't obstacles to AI adoption. They're competitive advantages. And third, regulatory pressure, especially from the EU AI Act, is forcing organizations to build transparent, auditable systems.
The regulatory piece is interesting. I imagine that's hitting enterprises differently depending on where they operate. Are we seeing different adoption patterns, say, between European companies and others?
Absolutely. Utrecht-based businesses, for instance, are genuinely leading here because compliance pressure forces better architecture decisions upfront. But here's the thing, it's not just regulatory theater. McKinsey data shows that 55% of enterprises now run AI in production, up from 20% in 2020. That's explosive growth, but it's also creating chaos without proper governance.
So if you're one of those companies now running AI in production, what does multi-agent orchestration actually look like in practice? Walk us through the architecture.
You need three core elements. First, a central coordination layer, essentially governance software that routes tasks to the right agent and makes sure outputs stay aligned with what your organization actually wants. Second, specialized agents, each optimized for specific domains. Maybe one handles customer service, another does compliance checking, another does data analysis. You're not trying to build one super AI.
That makes sense. Each agent gets really good at one thing rather than mediocre at everything. What about the third element?
Inter-agent communication protocols and outcome monitoring. Your agents need standardized ways to share context and escalate decisions that require human judgment, and you need real-time systems watching whether these agents are actually delivering value. That feedback loop is what separates orchestration from chaos.
Let's talk about the reliability angle, because you mentioned that earlier as a competitive advantage. Gartner found something pretty striking about this, right?
Yes. Enterprises with mature reliability frameworks achieve 3.2x faster ROI from AI investments compared to companies that just deploy and hope for the best. Think about what that means. It's not just about risk mitigation. It's about actually extracting more value, faster, because you understand your system and can optimize it intelligently.
So there's this counterintuitive insight. The companies being cautious about governance are actually moving faster overall. That flips the move fast and break things narrative on its head.
Exactly. And it gets more interesting when you look at reasoning models. Forrester found that 67% of enterprises experimenting with reasoning models see 30–40% improvement in problem-solving accuracy for complex tasks. But here's the catch. That only works if your governance framework can actually monitor and validate what those models are doing.
So you can't just throw a reasoning model into production and hope it works. You need infrastructure around it. What does that infrastructure look like for a mid-sized enterprise, say, one that's just starting to think about agent systems?
You start by mapping your workflows. Where are human decision-makers currently bottlenecking? Maybe it's customer service triage. Maybe it's contract review. Maybe it's data pipeline validation. You identify where specialized agents can add immediate value. Then you build your coordination layer, the software that orchestrates these agents.
And I'm guessing security is baked in from the beginning, not an afterthought?
Has to be. You're dealing with potentially sensitive data flowing between multiple AI systems. You need access controls, audit trails, encryption in transit, the whole stack. But, and this is important, you don't want security slowing down your agents so much that they become useless. It's a balancing act.
What about the EU AI Act compliance piece? That seems like it could be a significant hurdle for enterprises building these systems.
The EU AI Act actually clarifies what good governance looks like. High-risk AI systems, and many multi-agent workflows fall into that category, require documented risk assessments, human oversight mechanisms, and transparency. If you're already building reliable systems, compliance becomes much easier. You're already doing what the regulation asks for.
So compliance and good design align rather than conflict. That's encouraging for enterprises worried about regulatory burden.
Correct. And honestly, companies like those in Utrecht's tech ecosystem, NADAP, UMC Utrecht, are finding that compliance rigor actually becomes a competitive advantage. It signals to customers and partners that your AI systems are trustworthy.
Let's get practical. If I'm a business leader listening to this and thinking, okay, we need to start thinking about multi-agent systems, where do I begin?
First, audit your current AI deployments. Where are you using AI today, and what's working versus what's not? Second, identify high-value workflows where multi-agent orchestration could create impact, usually in customer-facing operations, data processing, or compliance. Third, invest in governance infrastructure before you deploy widely.
So it's not about immediately replacing your entire operation with agents. It's about strategic, thoughtful implementation.
Absolutely. Pilot programs are your friend here. Pick one high-value workflow, implement a 2 or 3 agent system with proper coordination and monitoring, learn what works, and then scale. It's methodical, but it leads to reliable, auditable systems that actually deliver on AI's promise.
And the timeline here matters. We're talking about 2026 as this inflection point. Are companies already behind if they haven't started thinking about this?
I wouldn't say behind, but there's definitely momentum building. The 55% of enterprises running AI in production, many of those are going to start coordinating their agents over the next 12 to 18 months. If you wait too long, you're reacting rather than leading. But you don't need to panic. You need to start moving intentionally.
What's the one thing you'd want every enterprise to understand about multi-agent orchestration before they dive in?
This. Multi-agent systems are not about using more AI. They're about using AI more intelligently, with better governance, clearer accountability, and measurable outcomes. If you're not building governance frameworks, you're not really orchestrating, you're just deploying chaos with more agents.
That's a powerful distinction. Sam, thank you for breaking this down. Listeners, if you want to dive deeper into orchestration strategies, security frameworks, and compliance approaches, head over to etherlink.ai to read the full article. We've got specific guidance for enterprises at every stage of their AI journey. This is EtherLink AI Insights. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.